Gauchos and their horses. For centuries, the heroes of the Pampa and the symbol of freedom. Much has changed over the years, but they still exist in the vast plains of the Argentinian steppe. Men who sit in the saddle 60 hours a week and preserve this way of life on the cattle ranches. On Saturdays, the horses are changed in San Juan Poriajo, an estancia in northern Argentina. During the week, every gaucho can choose from 6 various workhorses, which he then exchanges for fresh ones on Saturday.
Each one has a different temperament, you see? That's how you can tell if a horse obeys, if it responds to the reins. And this one, for example, doesn't want to follow.
Among the horses that Don Pedro and his men have driven from the Pampa this morning, there are some that have never before been touched by human hand. They have to be particularly careful with them. Not used to the confines of the corral, they could start to panic. It will be months before this bay horse can be used as a workhorse. It will be one of the attractions at a big fiesta at the end of the week, where it will be ridden for the first time. The choice of the horses is left up to the gauchos, but naturally each has his favorites. The criollos line up obediently in rank and file. They know the ritual. The criollos, the gauchos' workhorses, are descendants of the Berber horses with which Columbus conquered South America. Before they are released into the wild again, the horses have to go through a disinfection bath to protect them from parasites in the Pampa. 15 gauchos work on the estancia with its 4,000 cattle and over 300 horses. Young Juan has to learn the job from the bottom up. He is at his father's side at all times. Once Rodrigo has opened the gate to freedom for them, they are left to their own devices for the coming week. The enormous farm couldn't be run without horses. No tractor or motorbike could replace them. A mate break after work, a ritual that is repeated several times a day. Today, the gauchos have just one thing on their minds.
Next Saturday, we'll ride to the fiesta at Moncho Falcon. We have to prepare a little. We'll ride for the others there to show people what we can do, each in his own place.
Which horse will you be taking?
Colorado.
Colorado.
Y ese va a ser el jurado, señor Villordo. ¿Ah? ¿Te gustó? Está lindo, ¿no? Un aplauso.
For Lazaro, the lasso is something like an extension of his arm, and it can reach up to 13 meters. The leather straps are braided while damp, a job that takes days. This afternoon, the calves will be neutered and branded. At the age of 66, old Mariano is still considered the undisputed master of the lasso. He rarely misses. Juan is still too young for the dangerous work. Handling the leather rope requires experience and skill. The risk of injury is too high.
No me dejan, papá.
My father doesn't let me throw the lasso because it's dangerous. Throwing the lasso is difficult. If a cow gets caught in the noose, it could throw me off the horse.
The cattle graze far away, deep in the pampa, as far as 30 kilometers from the estancia. The gauchos can only reach them on horse. The horn buds of the young are burnt so that they can't injure each other later with their horns.
Si quieres preguntarme algo, tenés que preguntarme, ¿sabes?
Papi,
Papi, I want to throw the lasso too.
yo también quiero tirar lazo.
¿Vos querés tirar el
Look,
lazo?
Sí.
you have to take your time.
Apurarte para enlazar,
When
para
throwing the
tirar
lasso,
tu
you
lazo,
have
no
to be
tenés que
very
apurarte.
still so that you don't miss.
Uno,
1,
dos,
2,
y tres, ya
3,
tirá el lazo,
then
porque si
throw.
no te cansan los
Otherwise, your
brazos,
arm will
¿sabes?
get
Vos
tired.
tenés que revolear así.
You have to
Revolear tu
circle
gacha,
like
vos.
this. Look,
Revolea así. Quédate nomás.
Muy bien, nene.
I did that well, didn't I?
¿Te gusta aprender?
do you like it?
¿Te gusta aprender? Y él va a ser un buen hombre de campo porque le gusta. Una vez que le guste, va a ser.
Yes, he will be a good gaucho because he enjoys it. You learn the things you enjoy more easily. He's only 6, but he knows how to handle a horse. He can't throw the lasso yet because his arms are still too short, but that will come.
Va a aprender.
Some bull calves will be castrated at the same time. For the gauchos, barbecued bull calf testicles are a real delicacy. Once their work is done, the gauchos wash the pampa dust off their horses. They enjoy the cool, wet sensation. For young Juan, it's fun, as well as an opportunity to prepare his horse for the riding competition.
Tomorrow, we'll practice with the barrels.
You have to scrub it properly so that you get rid of all the dirt. Look, you have to do it like this. Look how clean it is, how it shines. Brush it well. Your horse has to be in top form on Saturday. You want it to win after all. You have to make an effort.
An old gaucho trick. By blowing into the nostrils, the horse is supposed to get used to the smell of young Juan and build trust in him. 2,000 kilometers further south. Argentinian polo players are considered unbeatable worldwide, and José Latirigoyen is one of their best.
And once again from the right. Now a left lead gallop.
José knows what's important for a polo horse.
Es muy importante que tengan, como podría ser en un auto,
They have to function like a car with gears.
all the gears.
They have to be able to go slowly, quickly, or at a moderate speed, as if they had different gears,
Que puedan ir a distintas velocidades.
with a backwards gait too.
José's farm in Ameghino, in the province of Buenos Aires, doesn't just breed polo horses. Indeed, its main field is training them. It takes 4 to 6 years to train them. And the outcome is still uncertain. Just 5% of the foals trained reach the high standard required for Argentinian polo.
See if you can raise the front hooves a little. Look how bad she is. She's bucking a lot.
Lo que buscamos es que el caballo sea una especie de atleta. El caballo es una
We're
cosa muy
looking for
especial que
horses
requiere mucho
that are like
cuidado.
athletes.
Es muy frágil.
Horses
y
are
a
very
lo largo de
quirky.
su proceso
You have to
educativo,
handle them carefully.
Puede sufrir,
A foal is
sufre
tender, and during the training, it can suffer a great deal.
Es importante
It is vital that you
tener
have the
gente
right people for the
adecuada,
job.
es importante
Love is
el
very
amor, la
important
dedicación
when
que uno
rearing the
le pone a la
young because
actividad,
they are
porque
sensitive
al ser
creatures.
seres vivos, muy sensibles.
Daniel is the top breaker in Ameghino. Training foals is his area of expertise. The goal of this exercise is to get the foal lying on the ground. It is supposed to give up control, its foothold, and gain trust in humans. He has to fall evenly. Let go, but do it carefully.
That's the wrong way round. If it falls in this direction, it will go berserk.
Now, it has capitulated. It's defenseless. Horses are flight animals. There's nothing worse for them than not being able to run away. That's exactly what Daniel wanted to induce. The breeding of polo horses requires expertise and patience, but also a good dose of luck.
Apuesta a que la combinación
You
de
bet
un
on a
padrillo
certain
que uno
combination.
elige por ciertas
You choose a stallion as the
virtudes y una
father
madre
because the
que
breed has
uno
certain
jugó,
characteristics, and a mare as the mother because of certain patterns of behavior. Then you think that the foals will bring together the best qualities of the parents. But of course, in the end, it could be the worst ones. It's like with a bet. You think something good will happen, but in the majority of the cases, it doesn't. When it does work out, however, it's fantastic.
Es fantástico.
Daniel is deliberately looking for physical contact with the horses, stroking them in sensitive places on the stomach. And they let him. Later, during the terrific pace of a polo match, absolute trust between man and horse is absolutely vital.
Esto es una prueba de amansadumbre.
This is an
Que me
exercise,
sientan que estoy acá
so they
abajo,
feel I'm there and
para
don't take
que
fright.
no se asusten.
Previously, with the traditional doma taming, the will of the horses was broken with violence. But people don't use that method anymore.
La violencia no, para nada. En ningún momento.
No violence under any circumstances. Do everything with love and patience.
Todo con paciencia y cariño.
It's the same as with people.
Porque es como una criatura. Si uno
When you
le
hit
pega,
them,
se pone rebelde.
they rebel. The opposite happens when you invest love and patience. Horses might not be able to speak, but they understand everything.
No saben hablar, pero aprenden todo.
Daniel is still training in the last of the daylight. For in a few days, the polo season begins in Buenos Aires. They will take 14 horses with them to the Argentinian capital, and from there, they'll travel to polo tournaments all around the world. "500 kilometers to the west, La Plata, the provincial capital. Negra is one of the many thousands of horses of the cardboard and rubbish collectors, the cartoneros. Vehicles driven by animals, including horse-drawn carts, are actually banned in the city. But that doesn't stop the cartoneros from driving into the center night after night in order to look for useful items in the rubbish. Like many Argentinians, Pitu and Marina's family was also thrown into poverty by the banking and economic crisis of 2001. They wouldn't be able to survive without their mare, Negra. Every night, she brings home what others have thrown away. Pitu has to watch out for the traffic and to make sure the police don't catch him. And sometimes, like this evening, there's a surprise.
What's that? Look, the clock. It's still working. Move it.
Muévelo. ¿Esa no se mueve?
La otra negra no se mueve.
Uy, la negra sí.
Next morning, the rubbish will be separated at Marina's home. Sometimes when it's resold, the pickings fetch up to 50 pesos, about 10 euros. Sometimes just half that. Not much for feeding a family with 5 children and horses. Marina's family has been living with Negra for 10 years now. For them, the mare is more than just a workhorse. Marina calls it her daughter. Over the years, Negra has not only given her 4 foals, but much more.
We were lucky with her. At the start, we couldn't even touch her because she was so jumpy. Plastic bags, paper, car hooters. She took fright at everything. She means everything to me. She's a part of me. Everything I owe to her. Wood, sheet metal. She brought everything home for us. And with that, we gradually built the house.
Basic training for Muñeca, the doll, as they call the Shire horse. When Pitu has some free time, he trains coach horses for other cartoneros, out of love for the animals, not for money.
I put some flannel in her mouth so that she doesn't hurt herself when I brake.
It takes a good 3 weeks to train a rubbish collector horse. Muñeca will also have to wear blinkers to prevent her from panicking in the city traffic. Pitu harnesses her to a car tire so that she gradually gets used to the weight of the cart. In the slum Villa Alba, there are around 800 horses, ponies, donkeys, and mules being used to draw rubbish carts. They provide the livelihood for the entire neighborhood. It is a dangerous area where drugs are rife and even rubbish is a valuable commodity. At Pompey's collection point, scrap iron is weighed and sold. Vet Dolores Oliva also checks in regularly with Pompey. For many of the slum inhabitants, she is their savior. She has provided medical care for over 1,000 horses and mules over the last 5 years. Today, Helena has called her because her horse Pancho has an abrasion, an old wound that won't heal.
Okay, you've already cleaned it, haven't you?
I cleaned it with soapy water, but I don't know if it disinfects better or...
Okay, let's treat it. That's disinfectant and bandaging.
Dr. Oliva has known Helena's 10-year-old dabbled horse Pancho for a long time. When someone cut off Pancho's ear and he nearly bled to death, Dolores treated him for nothing. For his owner, Helena would never have been able to pay for the life-saving operation.
And how's his ear doing, Helena?
Good. Since the operation, that doesn't bother her anymore.
The wound is healing well.
And she's not complaining like she used to either. Yeah, it's all dry.
In Villa Alba, there are no doctors. Not for people, and certainly not for animals. The fact that a vet has come here is more than unusual.
I know that I work in very dangerous places, and everyone reminds me of that too. But I'm not scared at all. The people trust me. They know I only want to help them and their animals. All I want is for the animals and the people to be okay.
In the middle of the slum, once a week, Dolores Oliva holds an open-air clinic. Doctora Oliva actually teaches at the veterinary faculty, but for the last 5 years, she has made the cartonero horses her purpose in life. Con alma por los caballos, with heart and soul for the horses, she calls her crusade.
Why are you here?
Because it was beaten. It was treated badly.
Was it already like that when you bought it? It hurts here too. Yes, you can see that he's been beaten. It's maybe an old injury that couldn't heal properly. I'll give you a cream. You massage the area with it until the swelling goes down. You must give him peace and quiet until he's feeling better.
Everything has to be tip-top in the makeshift horse clinic. Dolores Oliva starts a health file for each horse. The most common problems are injuries by shoving, beating, or harnessing them incorrectly. Dolores' assistants take blood samples from each patient. The horses are vaccinated against tetanus, freed of parasites, and are given a vitalizing vitamin mix.
I've come because of his eye wound.
What happened to him?
He was beaten.
He was struck there. You don't know when? Look, the horse can't see anything on this side. Plus, the wound is infected. It will just get more and more infected and hurt. Because he can't see, he could impale himself anywhere. So we have to operate on him.
How much would that cost?
That doesn't matter. Don't worry if you don't have the money, but it has to be done. I understand your situation. I'll organize the operation. It has to be done, otherwise Santiago will die. The saddest thing about this work is when an animal dies, and it could have been prevented if we had had the means. The worst thing is what the loss of the animal means for the family. It's really very difficult for them.
The taming of wild horses, the doma. is one of the most demanding tasks in the life of a gaucho. Jose, father of young Juan, is a master at it. This 3-year-old has never been touched by human hand. At the weekend, one of the men will break it at the village festival. All the exercises aim to help the horse lose his fear of people and start to trust them, albeit not entirely voluntarily. The trimming of the horse's mane is similar to an initiation in the world of humans. It is also a sign for the gauchos that this horse has taken the first step in the long process of the doma. The doma is followed by the obligatory mate break and expert advice from the gauchos for young Juan. He is practicing between alley trees for his slalom ride at the fiesta. At the village festival, he will have to ride around oil barrels. Of course, everyone agrees it will have to be faster. His father shows him again how it should be done.
Were you watching closely how to get round the barrels? You have to keep the reins short, and you mustn't lose your balance. A horse doesn't steer itself.
In curves like this?
Keep the reins short. You mustn't knock over the barrels. If you do, you've lost. Those are the rules.
In the afternoon, the men attend to more serious business. The patron, Marcos, has rounded up the men. Poachers keep on invading the estancia. They have been targeting cattle, crocodiles, and capybara. They're having to fight an invisible enemy.
We have to go out riding to check whether robbers or poachers have been there. And when we catch them, they'll be in for a surprise.
Young Juan is so excited that his father has to help him into the saddle. This is his first patrol. Horses are almost never stolen on the 4,000-hectare estancia. But the poachers find enough other prey in the nature reserve, with its lagoons and swamps, like capybara, for their leather, which sells well on the black market.
Yes, just like that. That's the way. With two hands. Shall we look out for the monkeys? Look, there's a monkey. Look, Juancito.
Ah, ¿viste?
The fence is broken. Give me a pair of pliers. An animal could slip through here. There's a post missing.
The estancia is large and needs constant attention. At the moment, Marcos still has enough people, but will it stay that way?
¿Qué va a pasar en los próximos 20 años o 30 años? Si miramos 30 años atrás,
what will happen in the next 20 to 30 years? Yes, if you look back 30 years, a lot of people still work the land. Today it is very difficult to find trained personnel. A gaucho has to be able to do many different things. Repair fences, vaccinate, tame animals, carpentry, and much more. That's difficult to learn. And in future, there will be even fewer people who can do all these things. What is it? There's a crocodile here. They've killed it. Maybe poisonous. They've cut off its tail. A big animal. They shot him in the head. An old crocodile. They took the tail with them. They killed it just for a small bit of flesh. What a shame. Look how beautiful. Do you want me to teach you how to handle a gun? That one's a bit big for you. A boy should never touch a gun. It's dangerous.
At daybreak, José Latirigoyen is on the road taking care of the next generation. His polo mares are not only expected to win tournaments, but also to bear foals that he can sell.
When you know which mare produces the most offspring, when you know that she's in good form and plays polo well, when you have all this information, then it makes sense to do the embryo transfer. The mare can play, and you can get several foals from her at the same time.
The embryo farm in Lincoln is the largest horse factory in the world. Over 1,000 foals are born here every year, created by artificial insemination and carried to term by surrogate mothers. José has come because of a special stallion, Triple X, a thoroughbred. He wants to use its precious genetic material for one of his mares. But the mare will never meet Triple X. Instead, the stallion will be stimulated by a mare in heat. Her only task is to get Triple X excited, which she manages to do without any problem.
¿El toro de recién se llamaba?
But there is no coupling. A vet captures Triple X's semen in a fake vagina. The stallion's sperm is immediately examined under a microscope in the lab. The sperm are agile, top quality. Elsewhere, it has been confirmed that the ideal time to artificially inseminate José's mare is imminent.
In the ovary, you can see 2 follicles, 30 millimeters in length. Everything seems okay in the uterus, too.
A short time later, the fertilized egg is removed from the mare and implanted in a surrogate mother. There's no guarantee that the foal, which is born after 11 months, will actually develop into a good polo horse. On José's farm in Amaguino, they're getting ready to leave for the polo season. Daniel packs his saddles and bridle gear for 14 horses. The selection of the polo mallets is José's job. Polo, the game of kings, is expensive and not easy, but it is also fascinating.
Es un deporte muy espectacular.
It's really a spectacular sport. Working with the animals, the pace, the countryside, all these things make me very happy.
Me ponen contento.
A few months will pass before José's horses can enjoy the juicy grass of the pampa again. And not all of them will return. Most of the money to be made is earned at tournaments abroad and from the sale of polo horses. Tournaments in Pakistan, Barbados, and Brunei are on the itinerary. But the season will kick off 450 kilometers away in Buenos Aires. In order to transport them there, Daniel has to tie up the horses securely so that they don't hurt each other. On the road, the truck mustn't stop for too long or the horses will get nervous. The Hippodrome in Buenos Aires is like a town in its own right, a horse town in the middle of a megalopolis. 1,500 thoroughbreds live here with countless stable boys and jockeys. José has come here with Dr. Hernan, a vet he is friends with, in order to look at a thoroughbred stallion. Since he cut his leg, he is no longer suited to horse racing, but perhaps he's suitable for polo horse breeding. The vet examines the hoof to see if there might be an infection lying dormant, but everything seems fine.
There's no pain.
Sounds healthy. What about the wisdom tooth?
It's here. He still has his milk teeth.
Milk teeth?
Just the first 2 teeth.
Everything seems to be okay. They decide to go to the racetrack for more testing.
The most important thing is the movement. A horse that lifts up his hooves too high loses time.
Of course, the movement has to be close to the ground. And a horse like this, is it a good buy?
Yes, it's perfect.
No problems? Everything's okay?
You should even buy it with the jockey.
Yes, with the jockey.
$30,000, however, is a handsome price. Maybe José can afford it when the season's over. It's afternoon in an exclusive country club on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. The first match of the season is about to get underway. Now they will be able to see if all the months of preparations have paid off.
Estas son las de coso. Todos 7.
How do we play?
He's playing as 1 and I'm playing as 2.
Fine.
When we play for money, I'll tear their shirts off.
And then we hit the little ball and finished. Final point.
For José, the first match of the season is always a good test of the condition of his horses. There are 8 checkas, 7.5-minute periods in a match. The animals have to be on top form.
He's behind. He fell behind. It's 3 against 1. One.
Right away in the first checka, Jose manages to break away spectacularly and, much to the delight of his team, scores a goal.
Fantastic. Hit hard, hit hard. Go on.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Damn it, come on.
To the back. That was great. Very good.
Even before the fourth checka, Jose's team is clearly in the lead. Polo is a very tiring sport. The continuous starting and stopping is very demanding on the animals, and players have to be in top form too. Their teammates' fall brings Jose's team out of focus. For a moment, it seems as if they have run out of luck. But then, in the last checkout, he can turn things around again. A clear victory. A successful start to the season. For Doctora Dolores Oliva, the day is far from over. She is visiting the sick in Villa Alba, a slum on the outskirts of La Plata. The Catanero Pitu brings her to his home. He is worried about the young Shire horse Muneca, who he is training as a cart horse and who he is responsible for.
Okay, what happened?
She has a stomach ache. She was tossing and turning the whole night. When I got up today, she was still lying on the ground.
Did the horse eat yesterday?
Yesterday she was fine. Then she began tossing and turning in the mud.
Did she eat corn or bread?
Yesterday, when I took her to graze.
There's noise coming from her bowels. She has a lot of wind. Did she eat corn or bread?
I gave her bread.
A lot?
No, just a bag.
Okay. Did she steal it?
No, I gave it to her.
Okay, we'll give her some medication and then see how she does. We'll give her this one for her stomach ache.
Will it get better, Dolores?
Yes, she'll settle down once she's taken the medicine. But we'll still have to watch her progress after that. We'll have to watch her bowel movements. She should drink a lot of water. She's not dehydrated, but still she should drink a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Young Muneca will not get a lot of time to recover. The horses live with the people because the people live off them. Hence, that same afternoon, Muneca is trotting towards La Plata with the old mare Negra to bring rubbish back to the slum from the big city. Anatomy class at the Veterinary University of La Plata. Dolores Oliva is holding a lecture on the Cartoneros cart horses.
You remember what the wheels of the wagons used to be like. They were enormous. Now they use car tires, but they're much too small, too low. This means that the drawbar is not parallel to the ground, and the horse has to use much more strength. The animals get injuries to their backs, loins, the croup, their back legs, to the joints of the back legs. You have to understand that it's not a question of malice, but of ignorance, and that's how we should treat it. Okay, you can go now. We'll continue next time, okay?
Ciao, chicos.
An operation is planned this afternoon. At the veterinary medicine faculty of the university, there is an operating theater especially for horses. Usually a poor catanero horse, like the one-eyed Santiago, would have no chance of being treated here. But Doctora Oliva has a way of persuading colleagues to do a good deed for nothing. The cartonero horse lost its eye because it was mistreated. Without an operation, it would probably die of an infection, while still pulling the rubbish carts until the bitter end.
Si yo tuviera un sueño en realidad en la vida, es poder cumplir.
My dream is to help these people and animals at all times. I don't think it's bad that a horse is tied to a cart. What is bad is when they're overworked and mistreated. I would like to prevent that from happening. It's okay for a horse to work. They can be put to work in the same way that they're used for sports. But I would like to open these families' eyes so that they don't just see the horse as a means to an end and constantly overwork it.
Poder realizar.
So we go to the festival, Juancito. What will you do at the festival? Is there a lady? A girl of your size? It'll be funny. Nice day.
Uno de sus medidas, eso está lindo. Va a estar divertido. Lindo día también, esta día.
In the vast plains of the Argentinian Pampa, fiestas are still the best way to meet friends and exchange news. And what do the gauchos do alongside the wine, women, and song? They compete in what they do best, working with animals. While Juan waits nervously to take part in the barrels race, it is the unridden criollos' turn. They were rounded up on the estancia just a week ago. Lázaro will mount one of them for the first time.
Ahí está, ahora Pedro, haceme un lugarcito para que se... Eso.
The time has finally come. Juan's big moment, the barrels race. Friends and relatives are there to support him. And Marcos, the patron, is giving his protege tips right up to the last minute. Even his opponent's cocky behavior doesn't impress young Juan anymore. It's a real head-to-head race. Halfway, it looks as if the opponent is ahead, but then Juan makes one last push and clinches the victory for the estancia. What a perfect way to end the day. For Marcos, the patron, as well.
Es un poco difícil de explicarlo, necesito expansión y libertad.
What's the best way to explain it? This life is a life of freedom. You can go where you want. The work on the estancia, the work with the horses, with the animals. It all makes me very happy. It's who I am. We have to preserve this way of living. Then it can continue for a long time. That's for sure.